For a Pied-à-Terre tax.
Pied-à-Terre tax.
Pied-à-Terre tax.
Pied-à-Terre tax. Pied-à-Terre tax.
Pied-à-Terre tax.
Pied-à-Terre tax.
As of July 1st, the New York City market is dead. Or is it? Today's video, we're gonna go over the Pied-à-Terre tax, which is a tax on all second home residences. But before we do that, like this video, subscribe to this channel, let me know in the comments what you wanna see in the future. And we're gonna check out these penthouses at 100 Barclay, which would probably be a Pied-à-Terre. We're gonna see it first, and I'm gonna let you know what the Pied-à-Terre tax is, what does it mean, and what's happened so far. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that tour of 100 Barclay. Now let's talk about the Pied-à-Terre tax. So if you're thinking about buying in New York City or you already own here, there's a brand new tax you need to know about. It's called the Pied-à-Terre tax. It went into effect July 1st. It targets second homes in New York City worth $5 million or more, and it's gonna change how the markets trade for the next 5 years. We're gonna break down exactly what this tax is, who pays it, who doesn't, and what it means for buyers right now. So what is a Pied-à-Terre? Pied-à-Terre is a French word. It literally means foot on the ground. In real estate, it just means a second home. Usually a small mid-sized apartment that you keep in the city, but you don't live in the city full time. So think that executive who flies in 3 days a week. Think that family from Florida who comes up for the holidays. Think the buyer from London or Hong Kong who just wants a place in Manhattan or even Brooklyn or one of the boroughs. New York has thousands of these. And for years, lawmakers have argued that these people who own them, many of them, not even American taxpayers, should pay a little extra because they're using New York City services, driving up prices, and a lot of these units sit empty most of the year. I disagree, but we'll go over into the details. Like, think about when Mayor Mandani said,
well, today we're taxing the rich.
He specifically talked about Ken Griffin, $238 million penthouse on Central Park South, who could owe over $1 million just because that residence is a Pied-à-Terre. That debate has been going on since 2014, 12 years, and in April of 2026, Governor Kathy Hochul and Mayor Zohran Mamdani struck a deal, and this week state lawmakers officially passed it as part of the budget. It's no longer a proposal, it's law. So who pays it? Who doesn't? You pay if all of these are true. Your New York City apartment or house is worth $5 million or more. It's a 1 to 3 family home, a condo, or a co-op. Your primary residence is somewhere other than New York City. That unit is not rented full-time to someone who lives there year-round. You don't pay if any of these are true. It's a condo or co-op worth less than $5 million once a new valuation system kicks in. The apartment is your primary home, no matter the price. Your parent or child lives there as their primary home. You rent it out full-time to a tenant like a regular long-term lease. So this is really targeted according to the governor.
It's not a tax on residents. That is so important. We're talking about people who are ultra wealthy. There are literally Russian oligarchs.
It estimates it only affects about 10,000 properties citywide. Out of millions of homes, the everyday New Yorker, the first-time buyer, the family in Queens, none of you are affected. This squarely is aimed at ultra-luxury, often foreign-owned second home market until it's not. But that's just my take. Tiered where it gets real. The rates are tiered and they're different for houses versus condos and co-ops. So for condos and co-ops, phase 1, which are going to be the tax years from 2026 to 2027, and 2027 to 2028. 1 million to 3 million assessed value will be 4%, 3 million to 5 million, and assessed value will be 5.25%, 5 million plus, and assessed value will be 6.5%. For 1 to 3 family homes, townhouses, brownstones, $5 million to $15 million is 0.8% per year. $15 to $25 million, 1.05% per year. 25 million and above is 1.3% per year. It looks really scary, actually. For the first 2 tax years, New York City is taxing condos and co-ops using its current assessed values, which comes from a really outdated method. They use rental income comps instead of sales comps, so the assessed values are way lower than what the place is actually worth. it's a higher rate on a smaller number. But here's the part you really need to understand. The city switches to a brand new valuation method based on actual comparable sales. The rates go down, but the valuations are expected to go up a lot, especially at the high end. So don't assume 2020 is an automatic relief. At a lower rate on a much bigger number can be a wash, or it even costs more for top end apartments. Quick examples. Let's say you're a buyer from Miami, you love the Upper East Side, and you're looking at a $10 million condo as a Pied-à-Terre. Under the new rules, on top of your mortgage, which honestly, this buyer will probably never use a mortgage, you're also writing a check to New York City for the surcharge every single year. When does this actually hit? The effective date is July 1st, late 2026, the first surcharge bills go out. Tax years 2026, 2027, and 2027 to 2028. That's the phase one. Condos, co-ops, taxed at that assessed value that I mentioned, 4 to 6.5%. Phase two, new sales-based valuations, rates drop, but values rise. So we're talking about 6 months before the bills land in the mailboxes. That window matters, and I'll tell you why in a sec. All right, so if you're buying near the $5 million line, get strategic. Probably gonna wanna negotiate to below $5 million. A condo at 4.95 million is in a totally different tax world than one at 5.05. So if your budget is in that range, work with your agent to negotiate under the threshold whenever possible, or work with me and I'll push to get as low as possible below that $5 million mark. We're gonna see a lot of pricing pressure right at that line. So that goes to my point. I predict properties in the $3 to $5 million range, they're not gonna drop in value. The inventory is gonna get less because there's gonna be more competition in that space. So when it goes to affordability, it's actually gonna make New York City less affordable. But that's my prediction. My predictions have been right since the Fair Act and since the 2019 landlord-tenant law. Rents have increased. Typically, when bureaucracy steps in, prices tend to rise. Or what if that buyer doesn't want to buy a $5 million space? Now they're gonna just rent. They're gonna take a rental away from someone that's gonna rent in the city long term. So you're gonna see, it usually happens from the top down. Let me know in the comments if you need data to support that, because I love to send data. If you're a buyer in that price range, late 2026 will be your window at the high end. A lot of current owners, especially the ones who don't actually live here, are going to look at their first surcharge bill in November. Do the math on a 5-year hold and decide to sell. That means more inventory and more motivated sellers in the second half of this year. If you're a serious luxury buyer, that's a real opportunity. These sellers are gonna start to get scared. Don't assume that LLC protects you. About 50% of 5 million plus sales in New York City over the last 3 years closed to an LLC or trust. The state knows this. They're building look-through rules, meaning if you're owned through an entity, they're still going to ask actually who uses the apartment. Talk to a real estate attorney before you close, not after. If you need a suggestion for a real estate attorney, I got you. Co-op versus condo, math just changed. Until the new valuation system rolls out, co-ops and condos carry higher transactional rates than houses. So if you're flexible, brownstones and townhouses look relatively more attractive at the top end right now. It doesn't mean don't buy a condo, just understand that there's a tax difference. Rental status is the get out of jail card. If you ever rent the apartment full time to a long-term tenant, you're exempt. Some of my clients are actually structuring their hold that way. Own it now, rent it for the first few years, move in later. That's a legitimate strategy. How this changes the New York City market trends. Zooming out, here's what I'm watching for the next 12 to 24 months across the New York City market. Listing wave in Q3 and Q4. 2026, expect an uptick in $5 million condos, townhouses hitting the market before owners eat the first surcharge bill. We don't have Q3 data yet. I'll be interested to see how Q3 and Q4 plays out. There's going to be compression just below the $5 million mark. So like I mentioned, properties in that 3 to 4.99 mark, there's going to be a lot of buyers in that space to stay under the threshold. Outer borough spillover, we're already seeing records in Brooklyn. You had 192 Columbia Street just sell for a record price. Maybe those Staten Island estates that I took videos of now, people look at those now in the 2 to 5, $4.5 million space. Slower trophy launches, developers may pause or reprice $15 million condo launches. What a lot of people don't know, a lot of these developers get tax abatements from the city to provide affordable housing. So you've had new developments in the past that received this subsidy. So even though they develop high-end condo apartments that the ultra wealthy are purchasing, they also provided affordable housing to like firefighters, teachers in return. So this is going to be the unintended consequence of this bill that passed. Co-op renaissance, then a reset in the short term. well-priced co-ops under $5 million look attractive. In 2 years, when the new valuation system hits, the gap closes. Foreign buyer pause, not exit. There's already a lot of buyers in the $5+ million category saying they're gonna purchase elsewhere, because in this price range are not like you and me. A lot of times they're looking at multiple markets at once. So think of someone with a $10 million budget. They're not just looking at New York City or Manhattan. They're also looking at Miami. They're looking at LA, San Francisco. They're looking at many other markets. They don't just compare neighborhood to neighborhood. They compare city to city. A lot of my friends in the top end of the market, that's what they've been saying. More legal noise. REBNY, the Real Estate Board of New York, who represents us realtors, they're gonna challenge the co-op valuation methodology in court. Don't be surprised if rates or rules get tweaked in 2027. So what to do next? I mean, New York City, we've went through a lot of things. We went through 9/11. We went through the financial crisis, the 2008 financial crisis. We went through COVID. All of the headlines on this tax are scary, but the reality is more nuanced. For the right buyer in the right price band with the right structure, the next 6 to 12 months, it's actually a really good time to be in this market. When there's fear, there's opportunity. If you're thinking about buying in New York City, whether it's your first apartment, your forever home, or yes, a Pied-à-Terre, I want to talk to you. Drop a comment below. Happy to send you some options. Happy to send you some data on the market. Happy to send you invites so we could connect via call or Zoom or Microsoft Teams. So yeah, we'd love to do that. The one thing I want to note, I did see a video on Squawk Box on CNBC on their Instagram.
Brokers were predicting falling sales for luxury apartments. Instead, so far, high-end sales are actually strengthening.
They just stated sales above $4 million are actually up in June, and sales for condos above $10 million are up 55%. So I think that's where we're going. The luxury market, the inventory is actually going to shrink, and these buyers are going to bet on New York City in the long term. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. As always, like this video, subscribe to this channel, and let me know what you want to see in the future. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the next one.